Good morning again. I think I said already good morning. Did I introduce myself? I'm Reverend Karen Einhaus. I have good reasons to be a little off today, just saying. And I want to highlight something. Have you ever seen geese fly in formation, in a V formation? You know why they do that? They do that so when the leader of the V gets tired, they just fall naturally away and the next person pulls in. And because all of the geese behind it are flying against less wind resistance, they get to rest a little bit. And so I want to highlight our divine groove, because today we had exactly that happening. Our music director, Frank Smith, is not feeling well, so he wasn't here today. And so did you notice that V formation? It just seemed. Let's hear it for the divine groove. And you know, it happens everywhere in this community. Everywhere. Everywhere I look, I see that. Somebody who has been leading a team is not feeling well or is overwhelmed or whatever. Life is happening, and they just take a back seat, and the next one is right there. That says to me that we have altogether created a community here where people are so empowered and feel so seen and heard that they are stepping up to give their gifts. And you know why that is? Because who is NVC? We are. We are. All of us. I told Sue that I have the corner on crying today. We always have to talk with the host, you know, who gets to cry some more. And I don't quite know why that is. In Germany, we have a saying, it's called, I'm built close to the water. And so that's just what's going on. I'm close to the water. And it's good water. It is healing water. I think it is a combination of all of the good that is happening. And it is a combination of this time, this festive time that brings the light. And you know, where there's a lot of light, we are aware of where there is sorrow and sadness, where beloveds make their transition, where people move away, where relationships complete, where a myriad of things are happening that we call life. And so, while all of that is going on, I have prepared a talk, and I want to have a conversation about belonging. That human need that each and every one of us has. We all have to feel that we belong somewhere, that somebody has claimed us. And so the talk is called Belonging, the Dance Between Polarities. Because here we are in North America, for those of you who watch us from other places in the world, where we have been very much conditioned to be focused on the I am. Rugged individualism. I can do it. I don't need anybody. I can do this. Watch me. Whew. And so, then what happens as we enter into community, into places where we want to belong, we bump up against that, right? And so that's a little bit of what we're talking about. On this wonderful Sunday that is so exciting. I look out into the back of the sanctuary for those of you on our online campus where we have 3 different tables representing different festivities that are going on. We have Kwanzaa, we still have our Hanukkah table, we have the winter solstice table out, and we have a Christmas tree, so 4 actually. How wonderful is that? It is a representation of this community to ask everyone to come in, to come close, to be together. Today, right after service here on the campus, we have a community holiday party. That was the first time I cried this morning, when I see people coming with soup, with bread, helping with the tables and chairs, and everybody's just coming together. Because this is our place. So today after service, if you're here on the campus, there are a couple of stations that I invite you to visit. And one is this luminary decoration table that the Youth and Family Ministry is putting together. And so we're all invited to decorate some bags that we will put out next week when there's not a 10 o'clock service. I think we heard that. I think we got that. There's also a table where we are invited to participate in buying a brick to build a path of peace. Yes, we have this wonderful peace and meditation garden, and we are going to fill in that path that is meandering through the peace and meditation garden with bricks that we can all inscribe, that we can honor a beloved who maybe has passed away, or some celebration, or someone who we love, or a gratitude that we have. And that all is happening on the patio today too. And all of this are just puzzle pieces of this idea in the mind and heart of the divine that we happen to call New Vision Center and the New Vision community. I've been inspired for a long time to study and really learn about belonging, how to build community, how to be a community architect, to help create the structure that is wide enough and deep enough and yet loose enough, open enough that everybody can find their individual space in it. Because beloveds, when we talk about belonging, how many definitions do you think there are of belonging? As many people as you ask. Because we can have a mental, right? We can have a mental definition what is belonging. But that's not where belonging lives. It lives in our heart space. It is the place where we feel that we can show up however we are feeling. Shiny and bright, sad, confused, whatever. And we are welcomed. That reading by Dr. Ernest Holmes, Peace be unto thee, stranger, that is what we strive to do. All these tables have been placed exactly in the place where the sunlight dances through the blinds. And all these offerings are for all of us to partake. I came across this dance analogy for belonging, and I really love this, and I want to spend some time with you on this. Diversity is being invited to the party, right? You're invited to the party, each and every one of us. And this is all kinds of diversity. Whatever diversity comes to your mind, first expand it. What other diversities can you think about? So diversity is being invited to the party, inclusion is being asked to dance, and I think we do a fantastic job with that. Right? Yes, let's give us a hand. Yes. And here comes the point. And belonging is dancing like nobody is watching. Like nobody's watching. Because that's how free we feel. That we really don't care if anybody is watching. Have you ever seen kids dance? I don't care. They don't. So for me, I love this saying, and it is by the author. I should have put her name on there. It's Radha Agrawal, who wrote this wonderful book that's called Belong. And that's where she speaks a lot about this dancing, because she uses the analogy, because she is the community architect of those dance parties that are happening all over the world, mainly in large cities and on college campuses, at 6 o'clock in the morning, substance-free, and they are raving dance parties. Those of you who remember the 80s, you don't need to show me a hand. But remember when we used to go really dancing in a disco? At least I did. So that's what happens at 6 o'clock in the morning, dressed up in unique outfits, and then they go to work afterwards. So that's why she is using this dance analogy. And she created these parties because she became aware that she was really tired of hanging out with the same crowd and drinking too much alcohol on Friday nights and then recovering throughout the weekend and then doing it Monday morning, going back to work and doing the whole cycle again. And so it takes a waking up. It takes a waking up for us, a moment in time that can be either a push or a pull. A push from something where we feel like saying, enough. That's it, I'm done. I think we heard that last week from beloved Ron Trundle when he spoke, right? He had that moment where he was like, okay, enough, done. So we can either be pushed forward by having enough of something, or we can be pulled forward by a vision. By a vision to belong to a place, to feel so free, to literally just be who I am. It seems so simple, doesn't it? And yet how many of us have experienced moments, times in our lives where we weren't who we are? Because of whatever circumstances. So this belonging that I want to talk about today has really three different components. It is the belonging to one another, because the realization that none of us can do it alone. So the belonging to each other. It is the belonging to that which is greater than we are. You might call it God, higher self, spirit, universe, source, whatever your word is. How do I belong to thee? And then it is the belonging to our true self. Those are really the three main areas of where we are experiencing belonging. And what's so wonderful, when we break it down like that, we can take a half an hour like this and really ask ourselves, okay, so where do I feel like I belong? Where am I not questioning? Perhaps it's the belonging to a community, a family. Perhaps it's the belonging to I know who I am. I belong to me. Perhaps it's the belonging to the divine. I invite you to take a moment. If you're comfortable, allow your eyes to close. Simply put your hands perhaps on your heart or on your solar plexus, whatever feels comfortable, and just ask yourself, just do a little check-in. Here in the sanctuary, online, where do I feel the strongest? Where do I know that I belong? Where have I done the work to create exactly what I was called to create in order to have this feeling? Thank you. Then come back, come back. A couple of weeks ago, Reverend Leslie gave a very inspiring talk in which she said that if you hear that voice within you that calls you to do something, or if you see something that you think could be better, could be different out in the world, guess what? It is yours to do that. Do you remember the talk? Well, a couple of people were inspired, and one of them called me and said, I really heard this call to create a women's ministry, a women's something at New Vision Center. I know. So for the last month, we have been visioning, and there's a team that has come together, and we created the New Vision Women Connected. Yes. You know, we have had a men's group here for many, 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 many years. Yeah, where are my men's group people? Very strong. They meet twice a month. They are open to have people, men, mainly, men, join them. They have never invited me. And we all are benefiting from it, aren't we? Because there's a group where people can, there's a place where people can get together and be themselves. And so here's the mission that we have for our women's ministry. Our mission is to provide events for women to gather and connect as kindred spirits and soul sisters, and thus connect with their individual and collective feminine powers. Yes. So that is starting on January 20th. I really ask you to afford yourself the opportunity to check it out. See if that might be a place for you to feel that sense of belonging that I've talked about. And that brings us to our sense of belonging to the divine, to that which is greater than we are. Well, we talk about this every Sunday, don't we? We do it every Sunday. Every time we enter into a treatment, every time we talk about meditation, daily spiritual practice, every time we invite people to lean in closer to the divine, because we know that whoever is close to the divine is a revealer of truth. And it looks very different. It looks very different how each individual takes that impetus and places it into form and lives it out in their individual lives. And yet, the quality at the very center of each activity is identifiable as spirit. That's how we know when it is a divinely inspired action. And so I truly believe that if I want to experience belonging, I must see the divine in others, I must access spirit in myself, and I must be willing to experience God in a whole new world, in a whole new way, a way that works for me. What I come to believe strongly with every fiber of my being is this: it takes us, it takes our individual work to prepare ourselves to open up to experience belonging. yes, we have to make sure that if we choose to belong someplace, that that other part that we want to belong to, may that be an individual or a community, meets our core values, right? Very important. But then we need to take out of the way whatever pain or whatever wound we still have from being willing and vulnerable and open to place ourselves into that experience. That when we are in that presence, we totally are able to let go. Take off the masks. This is who I am. And so I love acronyms because they help me remember when I'm in a situation where I feel like I truly belong. I can go through those words and check them off. And if I find myself in a situation where I feel insecure or there's something going on, I check in with myself. Am I holding up my end of the bargain? Am I being brave? That's the acronym I came up with, BRAVE. Those of you who studied Brené Brown's work, you will recognize she uses braving in order to deepen trust in relationships, especially when things have gone wrong. She goes through all those letters. And so I came up with this BRAVE. And the first one is the same for both of us. And because it's boundaries. Boundaries. And you might say, aren't we talking about belonging? How does that work? Well, boundaries, beloveds, is when we take ownership of our space. And when we are so clear of what that space is, that we often don't even have to say anything because people can feel it. They notice it when they're approaching, when they're getting out of their lane. And ideally, we feel when we get out of our lane, out of our space, and fix someone over there because clearly they need fixing. Or manage something over there. That is not mine to do. Boundaries. Boundaries has a lot more to do with our own selves than it has to do with other people. We have to learn to feel where our boundaries are and then honor them. And that's the R, respect. We have to respect that what I have set out to do, to be, I have to respect it. When I have inspiration, I need to respect that because it's my covenant with the God of my own understanding, with my inspiration. A, authenticity. I have to be authentic. Otherwise, you all are engaging in a relationship with somebody who's not me. Right? Some pretty version that uses the correct tense and all the right English words. Not me. No. Somebody who has it all together all the time, never cries or whatever that is. Not me. The responsibility for authenticity lies with who? With me, right? V, vulnerability. Because we all have been hurt. We all have done that. We have let somebody see us, and they had very unskilled behavior that they reacted with to that. And the only way we can walk through this is to come to that place again. to be willing to let another see our true self. Vulnerability. And then the E stands for empathy. Whew, we need compassion and loving kindness for this journey. So much compassion, so much love. Dr. Ernest Holmes says, life is ever giving of itself. We must receive, utilize, and extend the gift. And that is what I want to close with. I believe that life itself has set up this beautiful room where the sunbeams are dancing through the shades. All the good has already been given, for grace has already been given. And it is up to us to prepare our own selves, our inner being, so that we lean into belonging, becoming aware of it, claiming it, saying, this is for me. So what is the invitation for this next week? Practice being brave. Have a look at your boundaries. Is that comfortable? Especially as we gather with family. Right? Loving, setting boundaries and being clear about them makes everything go so much smoother. Respecting when I have an inspiration to do good on it, to follow through, to be who I am, because that is the only thing we can truly be. Being vulnerable, and bringing a lot of empathy and compassion to this journey. You think you can do that? Yeah? Brave. I saw some people taking notes. We'll put it in the newsletter. Yeah. It is a journey that asks everything of us. It is a journey that asks us to show up wholeheartedly. And it is a journey that I know we can go on together, because we are creating this wonderful experience called life as we walk on this journey together. Thank you. And so we take a moment and we are going to anchor this in prayer. And I invite all the practitioners, the ministers in the room, the practitioner students, whoever feels called, who has that voice within who says, this is mine to do, who has an inspiration. I just invite you to stand and take a stand as we speak spiritual mind treatment. And I'll bring into my awareness all beloveds everywhere that are part of this New Vision Center, who have been here before, who are going to find this teaching, this community in the future. Knowing that this is a safe place. And so we recognize the divine. We recognize that there's only one power, one presence that is everywhere. And we allow ourselves to feel held by that vibration of love, of peace, of harmony, of joy, of wisdom, of clarity. And as I claim these qualities, we recognize that these are already within us, for the divine is at the very center of our being. Rumi says, God has built a temple in your heart. Visit it often. That is where the divine lives. And so how grateful I am to know that we truly are one, that there is no separation. And from this place of deep knowingness, I extend this feeling tone out into the world, including all beloveds who have placed a prayer request into our prayer ministry, knowing that each and all are uplifted, that all prayers are answered by the time they're spoken. For the divine always says yes. Yes, my beloved. And so it is with so much love and great, great gratitude I place this word into universal law, that I simply let it go, let it be, for I know it is already done. The gift has already been given. Together we anchor this truth as we say, and so it is.